The people who benefit from your smallness are not always strangers. Sometimes they are close. Sometimes they are people you have trusted for years. And they do not need to actively work against you. They just need you to stay exactly where you are. Doubting the same things you have always doubted. Holding back in the same ways you have always held back. Believing the same story about yourself that has kept you manageable, predictable, and safe for everyone around you. Your enemies, whether they know it or not, have one shared interest. That you never discover what you are actually capable of. Because the day you do, everything changes. The Stoics made a distinction that most men never consider. They separated the opinion others have of you from the truth of what you actually are. These two things are often not the same. The opinion is shaped by what is useful to the person holding it. If your weakness serves someone, they will find ways to confirm it. If your doubt keeps you in place, they will find reasons to reinforce it. If your smallness makes them feel larger, they will do nothing to challenge it. This is not always conscious. Most people are not aware they are doing it. But the effect is the same regardless of the intent. And the Stoics insisted that a man who cannot separate external opinion from internal truth will spend his entire life building a version of himself that was designed by other people's needs. The first thing your enemies hope you never discover is the source of your self-doubt. Most men carry a story about themselves that was handed to them long before they were old enough to question it. Too emotional. Not smart enough. Not the kind of person who succeeds at things like that. These stories did not come from evidence. They came from someone who needed you to believe them. A parent managing their own fear. A teacher operating from their own limitations. A peer group that required conformity to function. None of them were necessarily malicious. But the story they installed had the same effect as malice. It became the ceiling. And the ceiling is not real. It never was. It is just a story that was told often enough and early enough that it started to feel like fact. The moment you see that, really see it, the ceiling disappears. And that disappearance is precisely what the people who benefit from your limitation cannot afford. The second thing they hope you never discover is how much of your hesitation is performance. Most men hesitate not because they genuinely do not know what to do. They hesitate because acting would require them to stop performing uncertainty for an audience. Think about the last time you already knew what the right move was, but spent days or weeks deliberating anyway. That deliberation was not information gathering. It was protection. Protection from being accountable to a decision. Protection from the judgment that comes with committing fully. Protection from the version of yourself that would have to show up if you stopped pretending you were still figuring it out. The Stoics called this a failure of the governing faculty. Not the inability to decide. The unwillingness to. Because deciding means owning. And owning means no more hiding behind uncertainty. The third thing they hope you never discover is that your capacity is not fixed. The version of you that exists today is not the final version. It is the version that emerged from the specific conditions, the specific pressures, the specific limitations you have navigated so far. Change the conditions and the version changes. Marcus Aurelius was not born a philosopher-emperor. He was forged into one through decades of deliberate practice, private examination, and the discipline of returning, every single day, to the question of who he was choosing to be. The capacity was always there. The practice revealed it. Your capacity is there too. The people who benefit from your current version hope you never find out what deliberate practice would reveal about it. The Stoic path to self-knowledge is not comfortable. It does not involve affirmations or motivational framing. It involves honest examination of exactly the things you have been avoiding looking at. The first step is auditing the stories. Take the beliefs you hold about your own limitations and ask, for each one, a single question: where did this come from? Not whether it feels true. Where did it come from? Who told you this, directly or indirectly? What did they need to be true at the time? Does the evidence of your actual life support it, or have you simply never tested it? Most men, when they do this honestly, discover that a significant portion of what they believe about their own ceiling was installed by someone who had a reason to keep them there. That realization is not comfortable. but it is the beginning of something real. The second step is acting before you feel ready. The Stoics were not believers in waiting for the right internal conditions before taking action. Readiness, they understood, is not a feeling that precedes action. It is a feeling that follows it. You do not feel capable and then act. You act and then, over time, discover that you were more capable than you believed. The hesitation your enemies need you to maintain is not wisdom. It is the gap where doubt lives. Close it with action. Not perfect action. Not fearless action. Just action taken despite the doubt being present. Every time you do that, the story about your ceiling loses a little more credibility. And every time it loses credibility, you become a little less manageable. Your enemies need you exactly as you are. Doubting what you are capable of. Hesitating before you act. Believing the story that was handed to you before you were old enough to write your own. The most threatening thing you can do, not to them specifically but to every version of circumstances that benefits from your limitation, is to discover your actual capacity and decide to live from it. Not loudly. Not to prove anything to anyone. Quietly. Deliberately. With the kind of calm confidence that does not need an audience because it is not performing for one. The Stoics called this living according to your actual nature, not the diminished version that was shaped by other people's needs. That version of you is not far away. It is on the other side of the stories you have been choosing to believe. The question is not whether you are capable of more. You already know the answer to that. The question is whether today is the day you stop letting the doubt win. Walk the path. Remain steady.